Hello, my name is Carlos Gabriel, and today I'm going to talk about the grass singing. Recently, I read this book, and I'm going to talk about what I think and what's my opinion about this. Okay, um, reading the grass is singing, um, I viewed that was an interest and eye-opening experience. From the very first page, I realized this wasn't just a simple story. It was a deep psychological and socially charged narrative there is. Lessing creates an atmosphere filtered with emotional tension, conflicts, racism, repression, and loneliness that made me reflect on how social structures and isolation can slowly destroy a person from the inside. The character of Mary Turnet made me feel a mix of emotions. At first, I found her cold, distant, and even unlikable. She seemed to look down on her surroundings and on others. But as the story unfolded, I began to understand her better. Mary was a woman tapped by the social expectations of her time. She married impulsively, not out of love, but of fear of being judged and even of living a life she wasn't prepared for. Isolated, harsh, and emotionally suffocating. It's like a critical for some things that happened and actually continue happening in specific situations. One of the most powerful elements of the novel was how it portrays racism. The relationship between Mary and Moses, her African servant, is incredibly complex. In the beginning, she mistreats him and clearly sees him as inferior, but over time that relationship become ambiguous, almost obsessive. At times, it seems like she needs him as much as she fears him. I found it brave and honest that the author touched on the idea of repressed attraction between races in a society where such feelings were completely forbidden. The emotional, racial, and cultural tension between them builds up to the novel's tragic climax. The novel also made me think deeply about the role of women in colonial society. For example, in this case, Mary represents many women who were forced into fulfilling certain roles, getting married, becoming housewives, following their husbands, and who lost their identity in the process. She had two real purposes on the farm, not a solid emotional connection with Dick, her husband, who was also a man stuck in a failure and disillusion. Personally, I was very moved by Mary's mental decline. Her descent into depression and madness is one of the most powerful aspects of the book. It made me think about how isolation, lack of affection, emotional repression, and social pressure can destroy someone. It's very realistic portrayal and psychological suffering, especially in environments where there's no support of understanding. And in the end, I believe The Grass is Singing is more than just a novel. It's a social critique disguised as a personal tragedy. It's not an easy or comfortable read, but it's a powerful and certain and necessary. It challenged my own thinking about prejudice, history, gender roles, and how we react to other people's suffering. It's It's the kind of book that stays with you long after you have visited it. That's why I should highly recommend this novel. Anyone who wants to better understand the lasting effects of racism and emotional repression is not just a story about a murder. It I think this is a story about what happens inside a person's soul when they are pushed to the edge.